Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well out there, and today we're going to head to the mean streets of LA for a gritty crime action thriller. But before we do that, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here. I greatly would appreciate that. Also, a shameless plug for my TeePublic page. I'll leave a link in the description box below. And today we're going to talk about a fun one, folks. William Friedkin's 1985's To Live and Die in LA. Yes, I have not seen this film in probably 25 years, and the fine folks over at Kino Lorber put out this excellent 4K edition of this film. If you're a fan, I'm just going to say this up front, it's definitely worth the money. The transfer is spectacular, and it's loaded with special features. So yeah, if you're interested, you can pick this one up. It's a great 4K transfer. And this film was co-written and directed by William Friedkin, the great William Friedkin. It came out November 1st of 1985. It's rated R. It's an hour and 56 minutes long. Had a budget of between 6 and 8. There were some overages. We'll talk about that as we go through this. And upon release, it made about $17.3 million. So it was a minor moneymaker for William Friedkin, who was in desperate need of a moneymaker at this point in his career. Coming out of the 70s, the blockbusters of French Connection and The Exorcist, he had a couple of movies that didn't do so well. And this was his hope to come back with a big hit. And it made some money, but it wasn't the huge hit that he had hoped it would have been. We have a great cast here, though at the time, most of these folks were unknown, and we'll get into that. But starting off with William Peterson, plays Richard Chance. He plays a U.S. Secret Service agent going after counterfeiters. And the main counterfeiter and our main bad guy in this film is none other than Willem Dafoe, who plays Eric Masters, and he is ruthless, and we'll talk about that. John Pankow plays William Peterson's partner, and his name is John in this film. We also got John Turturro in this film as Carl. He's kind of like a bagman who gets caught at the airport. We'll talk about that scene. Dean Stockwell was probably the most notable actor here, because John Turturro hadn't done a whole lot up to this point either. William Peterson was a theater actor, and Willem Dafoe had a few small roles. But Dean Stockwell was definitely the veteran of the group, and because he had done several films, and then Dean Stockwell's most notable for Quantum Leap with Scott Bakula. And I always got to mention this actor's name. Steve James plays Jeff. He is somebody who Eric uses for different jobs, and he's also distributed some of Eric's counterfeit bills as well. And Steve James was in a ton of Canon films. Always has a great presence. I always enjoy him when he's on screen, and he's great here as well in his limited screen time. And basically, To Live and Die in LA, to give up a little bit of a plot synopsis, is basically you got Richard Chance, who's a U.S. Secret Service agent in the counterfeit division. And his partner, we see him jumping off this bridge. He's definitely a wild man, thinks he's a little bit above the law, and thinks he's unkillable. The way he acts, he's a hard-charging agent, and he'll do anything to get his perp. And right at the beginning of the film, we see him jumping off a bridge for a thrill, and then goes into a bar. His partner, in the beginning of the film, is about to retire, but his partner is going off to do some surveillance on this lead, and ends up getting killed in a very violent way. A shotgun blast to the face, which Friedkin shows, and it looks great and very violent and shocking when it happens. And now Richard is in just concentrating on finding this guy and taking him out and busting his counterfeit ring. And he end up being tagged up with John Pankow's character, John, and Richard will stop at nothing to find Willem Dafoe's character and end his life, pretty much. And that's pretty much To Live and Die in LA. I gotta be honest, like I said in the beginning, I had not seen this film in probably 25 years. So it's basically like a fresh watch, like a brand new watch. I remember some of the film, and but there was some surprises in here because some of it I didn't remember. And I got to give Friedkin's a master director. He made some great films throughout his career. Some not so well-received films. This wasn't the most. Now it's getting more recognition as time has gone on and being reevaluated. But this movie does not waste no time getting into the story here. And as with most films Friedkin did, he was going for realism here. He tries to make it as real as possible. The counterfeiting scenes, when we see Willem Dafoe in the beginning of the film making bills, he shoots it and showing Willem Dafoe's character as an artist. Well, certainly to do this kind of work, you have to be. You have to be very precise because you don't want to get caught. And I just appreciated that. So they do set up how he does it, and they had They had guys on the set, they had a couple guys on the set as advisors who went to prison for counterfeiting. And the production actually made $1 million in counterfeit cash. Now, they were sure to make mistakes on each bill so it couldn't be used out in public. And the whole thing was they planned on burning all the money when the filming was over. But unfortunately, some of the bills got out there and got caught in circulation being used to try to purchase goods. So yeah, even the money from this film made it out into the public and were probably from crew taking it and trying to be used to buy stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, Willem Dafoe's great here, as he always is. And this was early in his career. He looks so young here. But he's ruthless, and he has this woman who's his girlfriend. And there is nudity in this film, for sure, male and female nudity. So it's kind of even-handed in that respect. Because even Chance has his own woman who he uses as an informant, but he's also sleeping with her. Doesn't treat her all well. Chance is very focused on the job at hand. And again, like I said, he thinks he's above the law a little bit, and he thinks he's unkillable the way he acts. He just throws himself into action with very disregard for his life. Now, there's a great scene at the airport where they're tracking down John Turturro's character, who's used as basically a bagman. He's taking some of the bills that Masters has made to somewhere else. And William Peterson jumps up on the metal thing in between the skywalk in an airport. And there's a great story behind that the airport people that ran the airport were there while they were filming it. And they said, no way, you can't do that. We don't want you doing that. We don't want it in the film. So Freakin's like, okay. He goes over and he talks to William Peterson. He goes, look, they don't want us to do it. And William Peterson's like, no, we got to do it. It's important. It shows what this character is willing to do to get his man. And Freakin's like, okay, you do what you think you need to do, and I'll make sure we get it on camera. But we'll treat it as a rehearsal, and we'll just try to say you forgot. And they rolled the camera. Peterson did it, and the airport people went nuts. They were pissed that they did it, but they got the footage and they moved on. So it all worked out in the end. And we get that spectacular car chase in the film as well. Another highlight of the film. There's a lot of highlights of this film. Like, this is an adrenaline-fueled ride of a thriller. Like I said, there's not a moment wasted in this film. Freakin' really kept the gas pedal to the floor on this film. They set up the story. They set up some of the characters. You get to know a little bit about the characters, some of the relationships, and the movie is off and running about this investigation. And I like that aspect of it. I forgot that's basically this movie is just really fast-paced right to the end of the film. There isn't, like I said, there's no moments wasted in this film. The car chase. You can't help but not talk about the car chase in this film. It's absolutely spectacular. Freakin' was trying to at least get up to the same level as the car chase he did in The French Connection, and I got to say, he definitely did it. It took them 6 weeks to film it. It was actually the last thing they shot filming this movie, because Freakin' said, at least if something happens, because Peterson and Pankow were really in the car. Matter of fact, Pankow's reaction of being scared and looking mortified were genuine. Peterson was really driving it for some of those scenes, and Pankow was really in the back seat in those scenes, and his reaction was genuine in the film, which I thought was cool. I mean, Freakin' was known for trying to go for as much realism as possible, so it doesn't surprise me that he put Peterson behind the car for real and Pankow in the back seat. So that was pretty cool, but it took them 6 weeks to film it. It was the last thing they shot for the film, because Freakin' said, at least I'll have all their performances in the can, and if something happens, I can make a movie out of it. So that was his thinking. At least I have the other footage in the can, so if something would go wrong with the car chase, at least I can make a movie out of it. Which, that was Freakin'. I mean, Freakin' was a madman, a very smart madman, and a very brilliant director, but he definitely would do anything to get the shots he needed to make his movies, that's for sure. Overall, I mean, I like the ending as well. If I had any negatives, I mean, obviously, William Peterson gets shot in the face with a shotgun at the end, in the forehead, right in the forehead at the end. Very bloody, very graphic. They don't hold back here. Freakin' does not hold back from showing the violence here. And then John Pankow's character tracks down Willem Dafoe's character and kills him as well. He gets shot and set on fire in his warehouse. I think the ending, there's a little bit of confusion at the end. Because right at the end of the film, this is probably my one negative of the whole film, because I think this is a really damn smoking film here. This is a banger of a film if you've ever seen one. The Wang Chung soundtrack. William freaking got Wang Chung to do the goddamn music, and honestly, it works. And I forgot how well it works. The music just works perfectly with this film. Some would say it would date the film. Now, this is a film that was released in 1985, so you're gonna have those 80s things in there. But the soundtrack never, to me anyway, watching it again for the first time in a long time, which I won't wait that long to watch this again, the music fits the movie perfectly. I'm sure the studio thought freaking was out of his mind having Wang Chung do the music, but it works with this film. So hats off for freaking. He made a great decision, and I love the musical score for this film. At the end, right at the end, Panko goes to Peterson's informant and the girl he's been sleeping with. And he tells her that you're working for me now because she's getting ready to leave town. And outside, they show a shot outside her house, which overlooks the bridge that Peterson jumped off earlier in the film. And you see Chance's truck pull up, and you can see him inside of it, and then it cuts to black. I don't know what that is supposed to signify. Maybe somebody can explain to me down below. You can leave a comment and explain to me. Maybe I'm missing something. It's a little confusing, like almost gives the audience the sense that he survived, which we know he didn't. There's no goddamn way. Although, the studio did not like the ending. It was too much of a downer ending with the hero of the movie getting shot. Now, it makes sense because he's such a hard charger that it was inevitable that's how he was going to die on the job, because he was such a hard charger, didn't give a shit. He just was focused on getting the perp, that eventually it was going to end him. And it does end him in this film. And I think it works, so especially for me, because I don't mind the dark ending here. Although I loved William Peterson's character, and I thought he was great in the film, it makes sense that he got his head blown off at the end of the film. But that, I can see confusing people. But they did shoot an ending because the studio thought it was too dark, and freaking went back and shot an ending where he survived. Now, obviously, they didn't use it, and freaking never wanted to use it because he thought it was total bullshit. There's no way he can survive. We just shot him in the goddamn forehead with a shotgun, basically at point-blank range. There's no way that man's living. So thank God they never used it, because it would have been total bullshit and a cop-out at the end just for a happy ending, which we don't always need a happy ending. I'm a true believer in that, but I'm glad freaking stuck to his guns. But at the end of the day, this is a great film, and I'm glad it's kind of had a resurgence. People are rediscovering it. It definitely deserves all the praise you see online for this film. And if you've never seen it, do yourself a favor and check this out. And if you love this film, this Kino Lorber release is great. The transfer, it looks amazing. It sounds great. And the special features, which I only got through a little bit of them, are spectacular. There's an interview with William Peterson, a newer interview. There's an older although has all the players involved, older documentary about the making of the film. And there's some other interviews on here as well. A really good release by Kino Lorber. The prison scenes where John Turturro goes was actually shot at San Luis Obispo Penitentiary. I only bring that up because I spent some time, I lived up in that area, my wife and I lived up in that area for a short time in California back in 2007. So I'm very familiar with San Luis Obispo, at least the area up there. Overall, this movie is just an adrenaline-fueled movie, and it starts off at a shot and it never stops till the end. It's like a freight train. We just slow down enough to get enough character beats from our characters, our main characters, and our main bad guy, because we certainly get to learn things about Willem Dafoe's character. And it just charges right to the end. It really does. And it has a spectacular car chase. So if you're a car chase fan, you're going to love it. So check it out. At the end of the day, I would give To Live and Die in LA a 9.5 out of 10. A 9.5 out of 10 for To Live and Die in LA. If you've ever seen this film, leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. After watching this one, I am watching Sorcerer very soon. I'm going to have a review up for that from freaking another freaking classic that kind of got panned upon release, but it's seen a resurgence as well, a rediscovery, which I'm excited for. I haven't seen that movie in probably 25 years as well, so I'm very excited about re-seeing that. So come back soon. You'll see a review for that within the next couple weeks. But until next time, bye.